Hey, wealth creation investors and traders, Matt Buckley, the chief investment strategist here at WCI. And it's been an interesting couple days, and it's going to be a lot more interesting week ahead. First of all, the Middle East, folks. President Obama concluded his trip over there and really didn't do anything. Israel is attacking positions in Syria after they've been receiving fire and taking fire from the Syrian side. So now Israel's starting to lob some hate and discontent over Syria's way. So thanks for coming, Mr. President, but really didn't change anything. Also what's interesting is the new Chinese leader over in Russia. It's pretty staggering, folks. This guy and Putin, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to listen to what these guys are saying. I know they're laughing about us. I know that it's over with, essentially, is what they believe for the United States. And, China to overtake America by 2016. And that's according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. No radical left-wing or right-wing organization, the OECD, just is looking at numbers. Based on China's economy expanding at a GDP of anywhere from 7.5, 7.8, maybe even 8, depending on the numbers you believe, compared to our anemic 1.x, maybe 2.x if we're going downhill with a tailwind. So very interesting that China really is a rising dragon. And Russia and China are more or less starting to thumb their nose at the United States. Our influence is waning. We're bankrupt. And they know it. It's just whether or not we admit it, we know it, and want to do something about it. Also, unless you've been in a cave for the past week, you know what's going on over in Cyprus, and it's really going down to the wire tonight. It'll be interesting to see what happens with a vote in Parliament. I think they're not going to knock out their two largest banks, and about 40% of the largest bondholders are going to get wiped out in those transactions. A lot of those are Russians, and they're probably not too happy about that. Just crazy stuff going on over in Cyprus. And you would think a little island with 0.02% of the GDP of the Eurozone, it essentially has the GDP of Boise, Idaho. And I think it's the size of Rhode Island. But it could be the domino that brings down the Eurozone. Now, Mario Draghi, has said he will do whatever it takes to keep the Eurozone together. Well, we're going to find out in the next couple days. So they had a Monday deadline, and there's closed-door meetings going on as I'm shooting this video to try and figure out something to come to a resolution and to rescue this. So interesting stuff going on around the world. And here's Man Bites Dog news. The Senate passes its first budget in 4 years. Harry Reid, if he were a CEO, would have been fired 3.5 years ago for not operating under a budget. But here we are, 4 years later, we get a budget, and it's a disgrace. The Republicans in the House passed a budget that reduces the deficit to zero in 10 years with no new taxes and cuts to entitlement programs. And the Democrats went exactly 180 degrees out, adding $1 trillion in new taxes, because that's what the government needs is more money, and zero cuts to entitlements, spending, or anything like that. So, so it's going to be impossible for them to reconcile those differences in conference, in committee. Well, here's the Senate proposal, here's the House. It's not going to happen. Any grand bargain's obviously going to have to come down between Boehner and President Obama. So here we go. So just when we think it's safe to stick your head out of the foxhole, they kicked the can down the road to September 30th to fund the budget till then. Now it's just going to be death by 1,000 cuts. Now we're just going to keep lurching from crisis to crisis with our clown car in Washington. It's absolutely embarrassing. What's going on the flight schedule this week? Yes, everything. Bernanke is speaking tomorrow. He spoke last week, the week before. Been out enough lately where I don't think he's going to shock anybody with what he says, but there's always potential market moving stuff that could come out of his mouth. Big week, though. Durable goods on Tuesday. S&P Case-Shiller Composite Index, the Conference Board, new home sales, and the Richmond Fed. Big day Tuesday in the market. Wednesday, pending home sales and CPI and core CPI. And then Thursday, obviously, weekly unemployment claims as usual, but final GDP. starting to get into some GDP numbers to see, and that's a quarter over quarter number. See if we really are on life support or we're getting ready to move to the ICU. Chicago PMI as well. We got the Richmond Fed or the Philly Fed, and we got the Richmond Fed coming up. I believe it's. Or I think we had it already. I'm sorry. Philly Fed, Richmond Fed. Now we're going to have Chicago. Friday. Core PCE, the price index, and then these two will be huge: personal spending and personal income. The gas price going up, the Obamacare tax increase, and the Obama tax increase with the payroll. Is it hurting personal income and crimping personal spending? And then obviously the all-important University of Michigan consumer sentiment is on Friday as well. So should be a very interesting week in the market, holiday shortened week. We got Easter coming up, but a lot of good stuff going on. Well, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? A lot of bad stuff going on in the Middle East, from Syria to Israel to Iran. The president didn't get anything accomplished on his trip. The Palestinians need a state. Yawn. Okay, and then what? A lot of stuff going on between China and Russia, becoming buddies and kind of chuckling at the United States and knowing that they're going to kind of essentially be the only two superpowers left. Cyprus, is it going to be the contagion that lights the fire in the Eurozone so everybody can split whenever they want to and not pay their debts, run out on their bar tabs? And obviously here in our country, we're bankrupt, and the Senate budget that they passed wants to bankrupt us some more. So good stuff going on, meaning I'm going to trade the hell out of this market and have a great time doing it. For example, our weekly options model portfolio in the past 2 months, almost 2 months, we're almost done with March, up about $18,000. That's $9,000 a month in gains for the past 2 months, and that's only on about $10,000 or $15,000 in risk per week. 2 trades, $10,000 of risk, 3 trades, about $15,000 of risk, and we're averaging about $1,900 to $2,000 per week in gains. Let's see how we ended up on last week. Let's do the let's go March 18th to March 22nd, see how our weekly options model portfolio did. Boom. $3,600 in profits on 3 trades. We had a bear call spread and a bull put spread on the GLD right around the Fed announcement, and a trade I put on Thursday late in the week that made $1,000. $3,600 in 1 week, and that could potentially pay for an entire year and then some of access to our Top Gun Options program, our full throttle program, where you get access to everything: primary trade alerts, primary live trade briefs, intermediate advanced trade alerts, intermediate advanced live trade brief, and the weekly options. That's all for $29.95. That should be in your email box. If it isn't, that means we're sold out. We took all 50 traders that we wanted to take. If it is in your email box, that means we might have a couple slots left. I forgot to look before I started recording here. So only a couple slots left. I know that because we had a couple people sign up over the weekend after watching the replays of the 3 free live trading sessions that I did last week. And I think on Friday I put this trade on. Bull put spread on the GLD that expires on Friday. Why? Gold's catching a bid here, guys. With everybody freaking out about Cyprus and potential conflicting economic reports coming out throughout the week, I really think gold has found a bottom and is starting to pull out of the nosedive that it was in. As you can tell, let's take a look for the past 3 months, and you can see exactly what's going on with the GLD. Institutional selling, Paulson, Cohen, Soros, everybody out. Why? Why be in the GLD when the Fed's forcing you to get into the equities market and try and make money on stocks? Bottomed out, skimmed along the treetops, and now we're getting airborne again as people are starting to get creeped out with everything that's going on around the world. So I think this bull put spread that I put on Friday in the free weekly option session is looking pretty good. It's up 5%, $60 so far, with a max potential gain of about $1,200. And then I'll see many of you tomorrow in our Monday weekly options live trade brief. That's for members only. If you'd love to give that service a test flight and see what we do and see how we're pulling down about $9,000 a month on average in weekly options profits, you can go to topgunoptions.com/weekly-options, and then you can scroll down to where it says take a test flight, and you can do that for 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, you'll get potentially 4 trades, maybe 5 or 6, while only risking about $25,000 in the model portfolio, and you'll see. See for yourself what we're doing in the weekly options model portfolio. Okay? Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. I'll be back with Tuesday's Market Sit Rep. We'll see you.